Join me in the speed version of Inktober 2024, where I draw all 31 prompts in a single day. And I'll share some tips. Let's do this! Hot tip number 1 is to prepare the night before. Do research. Aim for uncomplicated subjects to draw. Gather references into a folder and convert each image to grayscale and adjust the contrast for more obvious highlights and shadows. These steps ensure that your time goes towards inking without wasting energy searching for clever concepts. As part of my prep work yesterday, I quartered 8 sheets of letter size inking paper. Smaller paper means less surface to ink. I got this idea from Casey Golden, whose video inspired me to also try the challenge in a single day. Casey surely used proper tools to cut her paper. My stuff is all in storage at the moment, so I'm improvising with what I have on hand. For discovery, I went with a strand of DNA. For visual consistency, I used the same supplies and line style for all 31 prompts. Gumboots seemed the easiest to draw. I'm sure hiking boots will be popular because of the underlying theme. In previous years, I did a theme with the prompts. 2021, a character and her raven companion. 2022, different birds with critters. And 2023, all ravens. It's more exciting to have a theme, but it also adds a layer of complexity. I'm sticking to the minimalist doodles for my 2024 Inktober. Another benefit to having a plan is because of the synonymous prompts. For example, binoculars could also work as a concept for Discover or Navigator. Journal, guidebook, and passport all have similar shape designs. Let's say you're winging it, prompt to prompt. You draw a tent for prompt number 10, nomadic, and when you get to prompt number 22, which is camp, you might be wishing you could draw a tent, but now you have to come up with something else. Prepping in advance resolves this. Trek, hike, backpack, again, are comparable in concept. These prompts inspire an outdoor adventure travel story. If you got time, this is a good year for doing a theme. I'm not doing a theme. Here's a nod to Star Trek instead. Using a timer is helpful to keep you on track. It forces you to be more spontaneous and decisive with your strokes. Once I got into a rhythm, I became less nervous and more efficient with less faffing. I started with 25 minutes on the timer, reduced it to 20, then 15. Eventually, the timer became unnecessary. 15 minutes is such a short time to spend on a drawing that I share publicly. Less time per drawing for me means a compromise in quality. To survive this speed challenge, mentally I need to shift my expectations. It's dangerous to compare with what gets posted on social media for these daily types of art challenges. We don't know the hours that went into a piece, or the years of practice and experience in the making of the artist. I aim to compare only for inspiration. Nonetheless, we can see a progression with more confident line work. For remote, here's a famous fire lookout in Washington. Quite remote. So I don't burn out or get overly sloppy, I went out in my neighborhood a couple times for fresh air. What I saw motivated the natural elements you see in my prompts, like this grassy foreground. Since I already drew a close-up booklet with passport, this is less literal and more lyrical. Speaking of lyrical, this guitarist named his instrument grungy. Did you grow up journaling? I did. So much drama. Now, here was a tricky one. I didn't want to draw a car, and there's also a road prompt. My solution was to emphasize the driving. I camouflaged the car and road with a snowstorm, and it turned out kind of okay. What do you think? Ridge was a fun one, recalling spicy mountaineering adventures of my past. It's great when you get a prompt well suited to expressing your joys and fears. A topo map would have worked for Uncharted, Expedition, and Landmark. I quickly regretted choosing a sextant because it's too technical a subject to render under 15 minutes. Therefore, I added a tiny Tom Holland to swing the viewer's attention away from the instrument itself. A profile view would have been simpler to draw, but with a good reference, this guy turned out smiling. When I got to camp, well, the sun was setting outside, and with 13 prompts to go, doubt started to creep in. Whether I could complete the full challenge in one day. I kept Rust really simple, just enough to get the concept across to the viewer. My pack mule for Expedition was so fun and reinvigorated me for the evening. This brings me to another hot tip. Remember to have fun. Suffering is temporary, art is forever. Camera is another technical item to draw. To get around that, I added a meerkat as a supporting element in the picture plane to shift the focus from the subject to the storytelling aspect. Here's our road, slightly more interesting with a desolate tree. Getting hungry for some jumbo shrimp? Blue Goose as our navigator. You'll have noticed some of the top solutions for keeping the illustrations manageable under 15 minutes revolve around playing with the composition. If your subject is tiny, like hike, remote, camp, or use the storytelling to shift the focus from the subject, like drive, Uncharted, and camera, or crop the subject for sun, navigator, and violin, so that the viewer can complete the image in their mind, and I don't have to draw the whole thing. A cairn means you're on the right path, which is a happy sight to conclude our last prompt, Landmark. And there's cake! It wasn't easy, but doable and rewarding. If you want to join the ultimate speed version of Inktober 2024, completing all 31 prompts in one day challenge, here it is. Or for the step-by-step guide to complete Inktober at a manageable pace, watch this video. And if you struggle at the halfway point to finish the full challenge, definitely watch this one. I hope that you enjoyed these tips and demonstration of the 31 prompts for Inktober 2024. If you did, give it a like, subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one.